Welcome to this explainer. Okay, imagine for a second that you're standing right at the absolute summit of your life's achievements. You've climbed, you've fought, and you've finally reached the peak. But as you stand there, completely exhausted, the sky doesn't clear. Instead, the air thickens into this heavy, grim, dark fantasy setting. You're about to step into a really profound allegory of personal growth and face the terrifying internal resistance that constantly tries to stop it.
So let's just dive right into this. Picture yourself as the hero of this story, standing in the twilight of a physical empire. Suddenly, a shadow creature leaps through a silver-backed mirror, literally shattering the boundary of reality. And listen, this isn't a typical monster with claws. This is the corrupted architect. Put yourself in the hero's shoes, staring down an entity who proclaims, "I am the corrupted architect who hoards the brilliance of stars within a leaden box." His sole purpose? To capture your brilliant living light and lock it away in the heavy dark. Which brings us to Act 1, the Gothic Theater of Shadows. As that mirror of reality shatters, you find yourself thrust into the shadowy depths of a Gothic noir theater. It is cold, it's dark, and the creature standing before you is the Faustbuch Übermensch. He's a dark rival cloaked in obsidian-clad arms, wearing robes that look as dense and dark as the lead of mortality itself. You can't even see his face because his atavistic, static heart is hidden behind this shimmering golden mask. He stands there as a dark reflection of your own potential. Now, this entity is known as the Pale Redeemer. But what makes him so unbelievably dangerous is that he doesn't approach you as an enemy with drawn swords. Not at all. He approaches you as a priest of entropy. He's a sentinel of resentment, guarding the gate against what's called the spirit of becoming, which is just your natural, fluid evolution. He represents that creeping internal desire we literally all have to just stop growing, to settle down, and to let our forward momentum die. Moving into Act 2, Winter's Bite and Icy Breath. As you face down this Redeemer, he makes this cold, slow gesture with those obsidian-clad arms, unleashing the breath of the void. Imagine an ionized gale washing right over you, violently siphoning away all the warmth of your ambition. It's a freezing wind, specifically meant to shatter the atoms of any work that dares to move or shine. And this brilliantly illustrates his calculated method. Step 1, the architect unleashes Winter's Bite. Step 2, that ionized gale literally freezes your atoms, your energy, your drive, into eternal obedience. By freezing you in place, Step 3 is complete. He successfully murders your spirit of becoming. It's spiritual entropy, carefully designed to stop your soul dead in its tracks. That brings us to Act 3, the Gilded Cage of Safety. You see, right now you are a weary traveler. You're exhausted from the climb, right? And the architect uses that. He whispers this misguided act of salvation into your ear, introducing the Pharisee's paradox. He tells you that the unpredictable freedom of your ongoing journey is actually a dangerous fever that just needs to break. He promises that rigid perfection, just staying exactly where you are, is the absolute only way to be completely safe. Basically, he's building you a gilded cage out of ancient certainties. The architect offers you the heavy past as protective armor. He frames all your past values as a cozy sanctuary. But make no mistake, this is a trap designed to shield you from the logic of the crucible, which is that dangerous but entirely necessary risk required for true personal transformation. If you accept his heavy armor, you're essentially accepting static control, and you forfeit your future evolution. Let's look at Act 4, Weight of the Leaden Boxes. The very second you accept his offer of safety, you begin to feel the crushing, suffocating weight of it. Your life up to this point has been this vibrant, shifting gold of stories. But the architect's physical empire operates entirely on the heavy, stagnant lead of mortality. By possessing a moment so completely just to keep it safe, its fluid, vibrant life is extinguished forever. So the really crucial point is how he actually executes this. The architect performs what he calls intellectual salvage. He strips the gold off your hard-won victories and entombs that brilliance inside these incredibly heavy leaden boxes. He claims he's preserving your light from time, but in reality, those heavy relics turn your living victories into anchors. They drag your evolving spirit right back down into what the text vividly calls the stagnant mud of the herd. Think about how often we actually do this to ourselves, using our past successes as heavy anchors that end up sabotaging our future growth. Now for Act 5, unmasking the internal atavism. Standing there in that freezing theater, carrying the impossible weight of those lead boxes, you look really closely at the pale Redeemer. And suddenly, you realize something. He is trembling. Behind that golden mask, he is completely terrified. To maintain his stasis, he actually has to perform the murder of the witness within his own heart. He has to forcibly silence the divine eye of conscience just so he can brood over his possessed memories in peace. He fears his own internal darkness so much, he'd literally rather live inside a leaden box than face the stars. Now, what's really interesting about this is how it leads to the tragedy of the unowned. Because the architect denies light its fundamental nature to shift and shine, the captured brilliance in those leaden boxes doesn't actually stay brilliant. Spiritual entropy takes over, and the hoarded light turns into crumbling dust. This is a perfect metaphor for the sickness of the will. When we hoard our past, our infinite potential just turns to dust right in our hands.
Which brings us to the climax, Act 6, the joyful Dionysian rupture.
Here is where you, as the hero, make a choice. You absolutely refuse to be frozen. You feel the winter's bite, you feel the crushing weight of that lead, and you just look at the void and smile. You enact the Dionysian rupture. Now, this isn't some violent, angry attack. It's a joyful grave dance right on top of the suffocating seriousness of the past. By affirming the gay science, which is the joyful wisdom of continued creation, you completely and utterly shatter the architect's heavy, leaden philosophy.
And the victory is total. It's your terminal honesty that ultimately unmasks the jailer. It's the sheer lightness of a creator that shatters that heavy lead of mortality. Because you see, you don't defeat static control by fighting it on its own miserable terms. You defeat it through a bold, reckless, joyful refusal to remain frozen in the past. Your continued, unstoppable evolution is the ultimate defeat of the spirit of gravity. So, what does this all mean for us? Well, here is the ultimate question for you to take away from this explainer. The Faustian Übermensch isn't just some fantasy villain. It's an internal atavism that every single one of us faces. So when you reach the summit of your own achievements and you start to feel that winter's bite of stasis creeping in, what are you going to do? Are you going to freeze in the heavy golden sanctuary of your past? Or will you smile at the void and risk the crucible of your vibrant future? Keep evolving, and thanks so much for exploring this with me.